morning. All right. So I don't have any special props needed for today. Just a blanket or a towel or something to sit on if you have something to sit on. And we'll wait another minute. This is our first 7 a.m. class, and 7 a.m. came fast for me this morning. But we're moving into the school year and everything is kind of shifting. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Over the course of the past few months, we've kind of made our journey through the different bodies or koshas that are laid out in some of the Vedic or ancient Indian scriptures. And I'm just going to read a translation from the Taittiriya Upanishad that kind of describes all these. And I've got my little Russian nesting doll here. It's super tiny, but let me pin my video. Let's see. Okay. Good morning, Leanne. All right. So this is from the Taittiriya Upanishad, which is one of the old Indian scriptures, which I find it's super interesting to me, but kind of describes the koshas or the layers of our body. So I've got my little Russian nesting doll here. It's kind of tiny. Maybe I should sit up closer. So here's my little Russian nesting doll. And so here's what it says. It says human beings consist of a material body built from the food they eat. Those who care for this body are nourished by the universe itself. So that's the outermost layer, right, is the material body. So we can kind of take that little doll. Can't set them up so you can see them if I'm this close. And then the next layer, inside this is another body made of life energy. It fills the physical body and takes its shape. Those who treat this vital force as divine experience excellent health and longevity because this energy is the source of physical life. This is like our breath body, the Anandamayakosha. And when we talked about this, we talked about managing our energy in the way that we breathe. We talked about breathing and also habits and rituals that help us maintain energy. Okay, and the next one is the Manomayakosha. It says, within the vital force is yet another body. This one is made up of thought energy. Let's see. And it fills the two denser bodies and has the same shape. Those who understand and control the mental body are no longer afflicted by fear. This is our thought and emotion body. Deeper still lies another body comprised of the intellect. And this is what we've been talking about in August, was our personality body, our intuition body, or wisdom body. It permeates the three denser bodies and assumes the same form. Those who establish their awareness here free themselves from unhealthy thoughts and actions and develop the self-control necessary to achieve their goals. And then the last little tiny one, so tiny, can you even see that? Is the last. Hidden inside it is yet a subtler body composed of pure joy. This is called the Anandamayakosha. It pervades the other bodies and shares the same shape. It is experienced as happiness, delight, and bliss. And that's our focus this month, is the Anandamayakosha. This, our bliss body, right? Our ability to feel delight and joy. And the way we really tap into that body is by realizing that that's what we're made of, really, is joy. Men are that they might have joy. And regardless of these outer layers and what's happening in the world outside of us, we can find that sense of inner welling up of delight. And so today I just wanted to talk, one of the ways that we can really tap into that is to find and make meaning in the mundane things of life. That we elevate our everyday occurrences to be something meaningful and holy, that we find the symbolism in doing laundry or eating food or caring for the landscape of our yards. So that, and find symbols within our own experience that have personal meaning. And so as we go through our practice today, I just invite you to even find the symbolism in the way we move our bodies, that we can elevate that to be something joyful, that can tap into what we're really made of, which is that bliss and joy, and that can have meaning. You know, the beauty of breathing in nourishment and letting go of that which we don't need. The hum sa mantra, that means hum on the inhale, sa on the exhale. I am that. I am that part of me that has always existed and is intimately connected with the divine. The symbolism that our breath over and over and over is chanting, I am a child of God. That we do sun salutations, that we open our arms in this great embrace and welcoming of a new day and the source of light. And all of the symbolism and deep meaning that that can find. And finding those and making meaning of the mundane taps us into that bliss body, our ability to find joy. So go ahead and find a comfortable seat, and that will kind of be our intention for today, is just to make meaning to facilitate that tapping into joy. So close your eyes, let your spine get tall, and just let yourself notice your breath as it comes in and out of your nose. And for a minute or two, just use that hum sa mantra. Hum on your inhale, sa on your exhale. See if you can follow your inhale to its completion with your awareness. And follow your exhale to its completion. You empty out all of your air. And just let that exhale just roll into the inhale. And let that inhale naturally pour into an exhale. And then just find a sense of a smile behind your eyes. Maybe the corners of your eyes just lift a little bit. But let this sense come from the inside out. And find an openness in your throat and let yourself hold the sense of a smile inside of your mouth. And see if you can breathe that upward, relaxing curve of a smile in your heart space. Let's take one more breath with that inner smile. Just notice how that feels. You can feel that sense of delight just by creating that upward sense of a smile from the inside. And then gently just let your chin drop to your chest. And then drop an ear to one shoulder. Then you can rotate your chin toward that shoulder. And then just bring your head back up to center. Chin to chest. And then go to the other shoulder, other ear. And then you can turn your chin. And then bring your head back up to center. And then just find some circles in a really nourishing way for you. Going just as far as feels really available and going very slowly. So you don't need to let your chin look point straight up at the ceiling if that's too much. You could even just focus on the front half of your circle, but just rock your head around, starting to introduce movement into your body. And go each direction. Let's just take one more circle. Just let yourself even out, however that works best for you. And then just cross your arms in front of your chest and bring your hands to your shoulders. And you can kind of tuck your chin. And then just round your upper back. So we're going to let our lower back stay stable. Just rock. Feel like you're looking toward your navel, dropping your elbows down. And then find a little twist over to your left. And then a little bit of a side bend. But we're going to move just our thoracic spine in your rib cage. And then you can think of leaning back a little bit, pointing your sternum toward the sky. Find your side bend over to the other side. That little bit of a twist, elbows toward that right hip, and then come back down. And then switch sides. So twist a little bit to the right. It's a really tiny movement, but we're just trying to get into those thoracic vertebrae. Side bend to the right. And then you can reach your sternum up toward the ceiling. Side bend to your left. And then kind of twist a little bit to your left. And then find that little curve. Look at your belly button. And now find those circles at your own pace, just with your rib cage. And so they can be very small. And just think about those thoracic vertebrae, the vertebrae in your spine that are connected to your rib cage. You can go one direction 2 or 3 times. And pretty slow. And the more slow, controlled movement, right, the more opportunity you have to feel. And the more opportunity your brain and nervous system has to kind of connect with those parts that may be sticky or maybe a little bit more dormant and hard to access. And then go ahead and release your arms and just bring your hands to your knees. And we'll let that spinal movement get a little bit bigger. So you can tuck your tailbone under and let your lower back round this round now and tuck your chin. Really push your heart between your shoulder blades behind you. And then rock forward and find some extension through your whole spine. Kind of like a cat and cow here. Tuck your tailbone around everything. And then inhale, rock forward and open your heart. Move with your own breath, at your own pace, just rocking forward and back here. One more of those. And then we'll find some side bends. You can bring your left hand out to the left, right arm up and over. Side bend over to your left. And then just swim your way through center and go the other side. And just go back and forth a few times there. Just kind of waking up your side body, getting a little deeper into your spinal movement. You might feel this in your hips and your pelvis. So go to the right one last time. And then come on up. Bring your hands to your lap again, and we'll kind of combine that cat and cow and side bend by finding some circles here. So you can think of just stirring your circles around your shoulders, around your pelvis. And you can really extend your spine forward and round your spine back. And after you've gone a few times in one direction, you can switch and just come forward through the other side. Let's do one last circle there. And we'll just rock forward onto hands and knees. Move anything you may have been sitting on out of the way. And just kind of pedal out your hands here. So just paw the ground one hand at a time. And then you can change the direction of your hands as you go back and forth. You can come onto the sides of your hands, maybe fists, maybe the backs of your hands, but just going back and forth, You can play with fingertips, just the pads of your palms, and fingers out, back. So just kind of greeting your wrists, giving your brain some information about what parts of your hands might take a load. And then just find a place that feels stable for you and for your hands to be. We'll find some twists here. So ground in through your left hand and inhale your right arm out to the right. And then just thread that arm underneath your rib cage and reach your fingers past. Inhale up and exhale to thread. Just find some dynamic movement here. And this time we'll hold. You can thread your arm under, maybe bring that right shoulder to the floor, right side of your face. You can lengthen that left arm up toward the top of your mat, maybe even creep those fingers to the right, kind of cross over. Get a nice stretch through the back of that right arm and shoulder, and maybe through that left side body. And remember your breath. And you can just kind of wring out. Bring your left hand in front of your face. Use your arm strength to come back up to that table. Find your stable stance on your arms, and then inhale your left arm up and out, and then exhale. And just thread it around. And inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. This last time we'll hold. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, thread through. You can bring your left shoulder to the floor, left side of your face to the floor. And then maybe reach your left fingertips toward the top of your mat. Maybe creep them over to the left. Just find the twist that works in your spine. Breathing space between your shoulder blades on that left side, length through your right side body. And then plant your right hand in front of your face. Use your arm strength to come on up. And we'll just tuck your toes and just kind of push back and forth. Hips to heels, and then rock back into your table. So you're kind of getting into your knees, your hips, your ankles, and rocking into your wrists a little. And then untuck your toes, push your hips back towards your heels, and find a child's pose. And it doesn't need to be all the way hips to heels yet. Your forehead doesn't have to come all the way to the floor if that feels like a lot in your body to begin with. And then inhale up to a standing kneel and just reach your arms high. And then exhale. Just bring your arms to a cactus. See if you can keep your tailbone pointing towards your knees. Okay, and your lower ribs soft, but let your heart open. And just kind of welcome in that new day. What happens when you peel open your heart? What's available? And think about the symbolism in your body as you move. Exhale and fold. Reach your arms forward. And then inhale, we'll slide forward onto our bellies. Hands along the widest part of your chest, pubic bone down. Untuck your toes. And then just lengthen the back of your neck. You can let your head float up off the floor and then just float your hands, engage through your back body. Lengthen your lower back. And then bring your hands down. Feel like you're dragging your hands back just to lift your heart into a baby cobra. And then exhale, lower. We'll push ourselves up through table and then back into child's pose. With your exhale. Inhale into that standing kneel, sweep your arms up. Exhale, open your heart with that cactus shape. Inhale, reach high. And then exhale, fold back into your child's pose. Hips to heels, arms forward. Inhale to slide forward onto your belly. Lift your heart. Find that dragging back of your hands. And then exhale to lower. Bring your right hand up toward the top corner of your mat and your left hand back by your rib cage. Push into your hands, lift your heart and look over your left shoulder. And then lower, and we'll switch sides. Left hand forward, right hand back. And just back and forth here. Just finding that twist. Side lengthening. And then lower down. Hands along the widest part of your chest. Engage that back body. Feel like you're dragging your hands back to lift up into a cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhale through table, and then make your way back to your child's pose. We'll kind of go through that one more time. Inhale your standing kneel. Exhale to open your heart. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale to slide into your cobra pose. Exhale to lower. Stagger your hands. Inhale, find that twist, look over your back shoulder. And lower. And stagger your hands the other way. Look over that back shoulder. And lower. Symmetrical hands along the widest part of your chest. Find that low cobra again. And it doesn't need to be deep. Lower. Come through table. And find your child's pose again. And see if you have a little more freedom in your breath. You can breathe into your belly. In the back of your pelvis, your lowest ribs. And right in. Just folding in on yourself. To give you an opportunity for reflection before you move into action. Inhale yourself back to that standing kneel. Sweep your arms up. Exhale, heart open into your cactus. And then just release your hands by your side. Step your right foot forward into a low lunge. Right hand on your hip, just lift your left arm up and we'll find some shoulder cars here. So push that left thumb back. When you can't push it back anymore, you can rotate, lead with your pinky, and then come forward, and then just make your way back around. And lift your hand up into extension. Here, this is the shoulder extension. And then flip. Maybe let your palm face back. And then really find that extension of your shoulder before you come down. Now, one more time. And then we'll lift up and just find side bend over to the right. Long length through that left side body. And then come on up. Hands to your hips. Tuck your back toes. And see if you can power into that left foot just to lift your left knee up off the floor. And then bend it just to hover down. And lift and bend. Lift And just find a little bend in that knee and see if you can find some movement in your pelvis. So just move it forward and back. You can move it side to side. Just notice how that feels in your legs and your hips, in your lower back. Just a little bit of pelvic movement here. And then lower that back knee to the floor. Hands come down inside your right foot. And find a little bit of cat and cow movement here. With your pelvis, you might find some bending and straightening of that right leg. Okay, and then you can try going to just float that right foot up off the floor and see if you can bring your right knee straight out to the right. And then really push that heel toward the ceiling and bring your knee to the floor. Find a child's pose. And slide forward onto your belly into your cobra. Lower down. Come up through table. Find your child's pose again. Inhale to standing kneel. Those arms wide, really welcoming anything. Exhale to cactus arms. Inhale, reach high. And then exhale, hands to your hips. Just step your left foot forward into that lunge. Left hand on your hip, reach your right arm up. And find those big shoulder circles here. So try to keep your ribs facing forward. So you lead with your thumb. So you can't lead with your thumb anymore. And then lead with your pinky. And you might find, some places that are a little sticky or clicky in your shoulder. Right, but that's why we do this, is to kind of floss through and slow, controlled movement. That's really mindful. Just helps you access and work through those places. All right, circle around and bring your right arm straight up and then side bend to your left. Just notice if the stretching on your right side's any different than your left. And then come back up to center. Hands to your hips, tuck those right toes. And then lift that right knee up off the floor. And then bend your knee to hover. And then lengthen again. And then bend to hover. And then lengthen. Bend to hover. And then lengthen. And then find a little bend there and just find some movement in your pelvis. Side to side, front to back. Notice how it feels in each of your legs and your hips as you find that little bit of movement there. And then bring that right knee down, hands inside your left foot. So you're kind of like a table pose with your left foot forward. And you can find movement with your pelvis. There's not really any right and wrong, just kind of greet your hips. And then see if you can ground through your hands and float that left foot up off the floor. Bring your knees straight out to the side and then circle it around. Really engage through your glutes, but try to keep your belly contained. And then drop that knee down, push back into child's pose. And then inhale to slide forward onto your belly. And this time we'll find more of a locust pose. So float your hands up and float both legs up. Draw your shoulder blades together on your back, but then really feel like you're lengthening your spine. So tailbone, crown of the head away from each other. And then lower down. Come through table and find your child's pose. Let's do something similar, but we'll add on a little more. Inhale, come to that standing kneel, reach your arms high. And then exhale to your cactus. Inhale, reach your arms high. Exhale, just bring your hands to your hips. Step that right foot forward into your lunge. For a couple of breaths, let's find our tandem kneel. So just toe heel that right heel in line with your left knee. Get out any wobbles. So you can find a drishti to look at something, some focal point. And I find this a really easy place to find symbolism in my movement practice, right? That what I focus on can either distract me and make me fall over, or can give me more stability. All right, toe heel that foot out to a comfortable distance to the right. Tuck those right toes and lift your back knee. Inhale, just sweep your left arm up and find your side bend over to the right here. So longer line through that left side body. And then come upright, hands to your hips. We're going to come to stand and balance on our right foot with our left knee up into our chest. So just stand and then soften into that right knee, cross your left ankle over your left knee, send your hips back. And feel like you're dropping that knee toward the floor. And again, find your drishti, find your balance. And then come to standing, take that left leg and step it back, setting up for warrior two. You might lengthen your stance a little bit and find some movement in your pelvis here. And then settle in and open your arms. Inhale to reverse your warrior. And then exhale, just forearm to thigh, right forearm to right thigh, and find a side angle pose. And we'll just kind of find a dance here. So inhale to reverse, exhale into side angle. Inhale to reverse, and exhale, side angle. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, this time lengthen through that right leg. And then exhale, draw that right outer hip back. And bring your hand just below your knee. Find a pretty high triangle, maybe even just float that right hand. So you're using a lot of core strength. And into that right knee, come into your warrior two, and then lift your left heel, cartwheel your hands to touch the floor. Lift that back heel and then step back into a plank. And just hold your plank. And then lift your hips up and back for downward facing dog. And pedal your feet out. Lengthen through your side body. And see if you can find that internal smile. Right, that inner sense of delight. Knees to the floor, hips to heels. Find your child's pose again. Just take one more round of breath there. On your next inhale, we'll come to that standing kneel. Reach your arms high. Exhale, arms into a cactus shape. Lift your sternum. Inhale, reach high. And then exhale, just bring your hands to your hips. Step that left foot forward. And then find your tandem kneel on this side. So see that your toes and your heel, your shin and your knee on that right back leg are all in a line. You're not sickling in your foot to be a tripod. You're on the top of your foot as best you can. And then toe heel that left heel in line with your right knee. And find a fixed point to look at, something that's not moving. You might notice what things work, what little things adjust to help you find stability. Right, and in our little experience, just our mundane experience, we can find meaning. Right, that it's always just tiny course corrections that keep us upright. All right, toe heel that foot out to a comfortable distance to the left. Tuck your right toes and then come all the way up. Reach your arms high. Drop that left hand, side bend over to your left long line, bigger long line through that right side body. And then come upright. Hands to your hip. We'll come to standing on that left foot. Right knee into your chest. And pause. And then soften into your left knee. Cross your right ankle over that left knee. And send your hips back. Just sitting in a chair pose. Stay flexed through that right foot. Find that stretch through your outer right hip. And then we'll come back up to standing, lift that knee, and then big step back. Sit up for your warrior two. Lengthen your stance if you need to. Find a little bit of movement in your pelvis. So you feel some openness, right? And the availability of motion here. And then inhale, reverse your warrior. And exhale. Find that side angle pose, left forearm to left thigh. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Lift that front arm and find a straight left leg. And then draw that left outer hip back. Find your hovering triangle pose. So right arm up, but just let this left hand float. Really feel the stability in the ground underneath you. And from that place, you can expand. Bend into your knee, come into your warrior two. Then cartwheel your hands down to frame that front foot, lift your back heel. Step back into your plank and just pause. Lift your hips up and back and find your downward facing dog. You can work on dropping your heels down. Find some external rotation of your shoulders. And just feel the integration of all of those complex parts in your shoulders. Right, that collaboration of each of those unique parts that have to work together. And then bring your knees to the floor and find your child's pose. And breathe there. Inhale to that standing kneel, and you can think of those arms sweeping out as an extension of that inner smile, that just welcoming of your new day. Exhale, find that cactus shape with your arms. Inhale and reach high. Exhale, hands to your hips, and then just step that right foot forward again. Tuck your left toes, and then reach your left arm up. Find a side bend here. And then twist to your right. You can bring your left hand outside that right knee or your left elbow outside your left knee, your right knee. Right, maybe hand to sacrum or elbow to knee, hand to hand. And then tuck those back toes, lift your back knee and your twist. And then look down at your right foot. And then we'll step our left foot forward so we come into a twisted chair pose. You can have your big toes touching or feet sitting bone distance apart. Try to keep your knees in line with each other. Lengthen and then find your twist. Either hand on your knee, hand on your sacrum, or elbow to knee, hands together. And then unwind and sit yourself into a chair pose. And then bring your weight onto your right foot. Just float your left knee towards your bum. And then maybe cross that left ankle over or cross your leg all the way. So you're like an eagle pose. You could wrap your toes behind. You could even use your toes as a kickstand. And then left arm underneath, right arm, give yourself a hug. From there, you can wrap. Right, we're just wringing ourselves out. Feel everything squeeze toward the center. And then draw your elbows toward your knees, wherever you are in your hug or your eagle arms. And then unwrap that left leg and send it straight back. So you're in a warrior 3. And then soften into that right knee, let your left toes land. Unwind your arms, reach high. And then ground that left heel open into a warrior 2. Inhale to reverse your warrior. And exhale to a side angle pose. And stay here. Or you might want to go a little deeper this time. Maybe bring your hand inside your ankle or fingers to the floor. Inhale yourself back up to warrior 2. Straighten that right leg. Shift your pelvis back and find your triangle. And then bend into that right knee. Hands down to frame that front foot. Step back into your plank. Just pause. And then lift your hips up and back. Knees to the floor. Hips to heels. Collect yourself. Feel the expansiveness of your breath and hear the resonance of it. Inhale, come to that standing kneel with your inner smile. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale to reach high. Exhale, hands to your hips again. And then step your left foot forward. Reach your right arm up and find your side bend over to your left. And from here, we'll move to our twist. Either right hand to inner thigh, left hand to sacrum. Outer thigh, sorry. Or right hand, elbow to outer knee and hands together. Either way. Tuck your back toes and float that back knee up. And do one long line from that right heel out through the crown of your head, wherever you are. Then look down at those left toes and step that right foot forward into a twisted chair. Your big toes can touch, or you can have sitting bone distance between your heels. I like the stability of space between my legs. Let your knees be in line with each other. And then untwist into your chair. Back out a little bit. Float your right heel toward your bum. Cross your ankle over your knee, or cross your leg all the way over. Maybe you wrap your toes behind. Maybe you use those toes as a kickstand. Reach your arms forward, right elbow underneath. Give yourself a hug, or wrap those right fingers into your left palm. Squeeze everything to the center. And then draw your elbows toward that right knee. Unthread that right leg. Float it back. Find length between your right foot and your fingertips. And then float those right toes down. Unwind your arms, reach high. Ground your right heel and open into your warrior two. Inhale to reverse. Exhale into your side angle pose, forearm to thigh. Or you might hold on to your inner ankle or fingers to the floor. You're looking for freedom and space and length. And you're working from the inside out. Not worried so much about what it looks like on the outside, but on the availability of your awareness to feel what's happening on the inside. Inhale yourself back up to your warrior two. Straighten that left leg, reach back. And then exhale. Find your triangle pose. Cartwheel your hands to frame that front foot. Step back into your plank. And then lift your hips up and back for for downward facing dog, excuse me. And just notice what it feels like to approach this now after some warmth and some practice. And what teachings and symbolism can you find? What deep meaning can you find in the mundane? Bring your knees to the floor. Push your hips back to your heels. Find a child's pose. And maybe this time you bring your hands back by your feet. Roll yourself up to seated. Just shift your hips to one side. Lengthen your right leg in front of you. Just bend this left knee. Bring your foot towards your inner thigh. Lengthen your spine. And then you can find a little bit of a bend in that right knee. Feel like you're dragging that heel back to pull your heart forward. And then you can lengthen that leg any amount on the floor. Think about breathing 360 degrees around your whole rib cage. And you can just find that little sense of a wave with your breath as you kind of pull your heel back and your heart forward with your inhale. And as you push your heel away and find a little more length in the back of your knee with your exhale. Right, even when we look still, right, there's still an ebb and a flow. Right, balance is not something we just have. It's something that we do, and it's always in motion. It's never static. Come on up. And then just switch sides. Lengthen your left leg. Bring that right foot in. And that translates into the whole of our lives. Find that little bit of bend in your left knee as you drag that left heel back to pull your heart forward. And then you can kind of push your heel away and maybe find a little more length in the back of your knee. And you just find that little tiny sense of a wave. Breathe in and out of your nose. And then come upright. Just lengthen that right leg forward and scoot yourself to the center of your space. Hold on to the backs of your thighs and just roll yourself down onto your back. Knees bent, feet flat on the floor. We'll do a couple of waves in a bridge pose, and then on our third one, we'll hold. So just push into your feet. See if you can lift one vertebrae at a time. So really push those lower back vertebrae down to lift your tailbone first and then your sacrum. And then see if you can lift lower back, the middle back, and then upper back. And then wave yourself back down. Feel those thoracic vertebrae. Really use your belly to see if you can lift your pelvis enough that you can bring those lower back vertebrae down. And then bring your sacrum to the floor. Let your lower back get a natural curve. Do that one more time, just that slow wave. Make your way back down. And then do one more and let yourself pause at the top. You can do what you'd like with your hands. You could Grab the edges of your mat and really rotate your triceps toward the floor. Draw your shoulder blades together. You could interlace fingers underneath you and find a tripod support that way. Find a little sense of pulling your heels back toward your shoulders, letting your tailbone lengthen the same direction as your knees. Letting your front ribs kind of stay heavy. Using the support of your glutes. Not in a way that you're like clenching, but where you can really feel the support underneath your sitting bones. Let there be some space for your breath. And then go ahead and lower yourself down. And take your feet as wide as your mat, just windshield wiper your legs from side to side. When your knees come to the right, you've got that left upper leg internally rotated. Just stack your right heel on top of your left and then reach your left arm alongside your ear. You could bring your right hand maybe to your right thigh. I just like it out to a T. So it's a kind of an open twist, lengthening through that left side body. And then just switch. Knees over to the left. So you're just windshield wipering, internally rotating that right leg, and then stack your left heel on top of your right knee. Lengthen that right arm up alongside your ear. And then undo that. Windshield wiper a few more times. Any last movements that you feel like you need? Maybe just hugging your knees into your chest and steering your knees in circles one way and then the other. Maybe a happy baby pose. After you kind of have set yourself symmetrically, you can find a place for your final rest and use any props that would feel good for you. You could take some pillows or blocks and put them underneath the backs of your knees. As you lay down, you could take your legs up the wall or legs up onto a couch. That can feel like nice support for your pelvis and your lower back. You could take a folded blanket and put it under your head for a pillow. Those are a few options. Wherever you are, get yourself settled. See if you can get out all of your wiggles. You can purposely wiggle first. Kind of shake yourself and shake everything. Just kind of feel your tissues slide over each other. And then find some stillness. Take your hands and just rub your hands till your palms get warm. And then take your warm palms and let them rest on your eyes. Just close out all the light. And then release your hands. Just bring them a comfortable distance away from your body, palms face up. Let your fingers just gently curve. And see if you can breathe and relax with that inner smile. That deep inner core of you is made of smiles. delight, joy. So our focus this month is to find meaning in the mundane, to find those things that really spark that delight, that help us see that everything is a holy act, and live with that inner smile. Which doesn't always necessarily mean that we're happy and giddy and playful all the time. It doesn't mean we like everything that happens, but that we can just trust that we are, that we might have joy. Feel free to rest here for as long as you have time for. When you're ready, find some wiggling in fingers and toes. You can find a bend in your knees. Rock to your favorite side. Push yourself up to a comfortable seat. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Have a joyful day. Namaste.
Thank you. That was great.
Thank you.